Nick Sirianni has just signed a contract extension to stay in Philadelphia, and he deserves it. Man, oh man, that man deserves it. And we're going to praise him and also show just how far he's come and how he embodies really what it means to be a Philadelphia head coach and what Philadelphia represents. Now, Nick Sirianni is the first coach in NFL history that in his first 4 years has made the playoffs every single year and has reached multiple Super Bowls. So what that tells me is he's a top three coach in the NFL. Top three coach. We don't go by feelings. We go by facts. We go by facts. I'm sorry. A guy in Kyle Shanahan has blown multiple leads in the Super Bowl. He's a great play caller, but as a head coach, Nick Sirianni is better than him. It's funny to me that Dan Campbell gets all the praise for changing the culture for the Lions, right? All the praise. But Nick Sirianni inherited a 4-win team, and it's all Howie Roseman. It's all Howie Roseman. It got nothing to do with Nick Sirianni. Oh, it's all the players. Nothing to do with the coach. Nothing to do with the coach. Now, look, I'll be fair. I'll be fair, bro. And this is why I believe that Nick Sirianni represents Philly. Because this is a guy that kind of fell on his face in the national spotlight, picked himself up, got to work, and the results showed for themselves. There have been several Philly athletes that they fell on their face nationally and could not recover. And that's why Philly don't respect them like that. We don't respect Ben Simmons because all you had to do was show up, was to show effort, was to play hard, was to play up to your potential. And Ben Simmons did not answer the bell. Carson Wentz, to a lesser degree, when he got the criticism, he simply could not really match it. He could not go out there and prove him wrong. Now, I'll give him some grace because Carson Wentz is a big reason why the Eagles won that Super Bowl in 2018. And he's a big reason why they was able to, get some assets to then retool and get that Super Bowl in 2025. But look, bruh, the thing about Nick Sirianni that makes him such a great coach is the fact that he's able to be self-aware about who he is. I'll break this down. In Nick Sirianni's first year as a head coach, the Eagles were projected to win 3 to 4 games. 3 to 4 games. They won 9 games that year, clinched a wild card spot. And midway through that season, Nick Sirianni, who was the de facto play caller, said, you know what? I'm not that good at calling plays. I'm a better head coach. I'm a better CEO guy. And he gave the reins to Shane Steichen. And then you have Jalen Hurts that following year go out there, have an MVP year. And then even back to that season when Shane Steichen took over as the play caller, they went on a winning streak and inched into that wild card spot. And so that trait about Nick Sirianni is why he's so great. There's so many times that I've seen coaches in the NFL simply not have self-awareness. And there have been multiple times that Nick Sirianni has had self-awareness to be like, I don't know everything. I'm going to delegate this to somebody else who's better. Part of being a leader is knowing your strengths and knowing what your weaknesses are, knowing what you might not be that good at, and somebody else who has a strength that can go ahead and, work on that. Now, look, I know for me, in my experience, organization isn't my strong suit. So I got somebody on Real Talk who does the organization for me because that's just simply not my best tool. Even at Morehouse College, when I was doing this Man of the Year magazine, it was highlighting all the students and all the future leaders in the school and all that for the end of the year type of thing for the seniors and everybody in the school. I had somebody that did the emails with the publisher to get this stuff copied and do all the logistics. I don't like doing that stuff. I make the content, bruh. But you guys surround yourself with people and have the self-awareness to say, you know what? I'm great at this, but I'm not great at this. But he or she, they're great at that. So let me go ahead and bring them on just for that reason. Another thing, when Nick Sirianni went to the offensive line and the offensive line said, run the damn ball after the bye week, what did the Eagles do? They ran the freaking ball. What happened in the Super Bowl when the Eagles were up big and Kellen Moore was acting scary? And what did Nick Sirianni say? Go for it. Go for that deep ball for Devontae Smith. And what happened? For the dagger. Smitty! Nick Sirianni, bruh. He embodies what Philly represents. He's fearless. He's self-aware. He's a hard worker. Another great moment that he had was with his wife, right? Remember when Nick Sirianni told his wife after the preseason game, and he spoke on it. He said, yo, like, why are they booing me? It's preseason. Why are they booing the team and all that? And she said, what? Did you give them a reason to boo? And he was like, yeah. So first of all, Miss Sirianni, she's amazing because she gets it. It's funny that like Nick Sirianni's wife actually knows what Philly is all about more than actual players. Like Nick Sirianni's wife understands it more than Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, I'm gonna keep saying it. If you shot the damn ball and stopped acting scary, you would probably still be in Philly and probably get another contract. All we want you to do is live up to your potential and show effort. And you had Gilly talk to Paul George about that. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. It's not that hard, bruh. And so Nick Sirianni is a top 3 coach. He's the best coach in Eagles history. It's not even a debate. And I'm looking at this guy that, yes, you might not like his methods, but I like his results. I like his results. And a lot of the times we try to like act like we're in the locker room and we know what these guys are thinking, bro. If every Eagles player is saying they love Nick Sirianni, if we're seeing guys like Zach Bond or Nakobe Dean on the sideline being amped up and being happy that Sirianni believes in them, if we're seeing A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith embrace Nick Sirianni after that Super Bowl win, and we say to ourselves, oh, well, because of what some knucklehead said about Nick Sirianni not being a culture setter for real, I don't think that he has the locker room. If the players are showing you where they lie, why are you listening to somebody who ain't in the locker room, bro? That's the thing. I'm not about to act, and I've said this multiple times, I'm not about to act like I've always been a big Sirianni guy. But what I will concede with is saying there's power in saying, all right, here's the results, here's the production. You have to change the take. Like, there's folks that will say, oh, well, you said fire Sirianni. You ain't like him at first. Da. When y'all was 2-2, you ain't like him. Yeah, we was 2-2. And there was some bad decisions that he made. But he ended up learning from them. And if we're being honest, Jake Elliott did not have the best year. He turned up when it mattered the most, but he didn't have the best year. So maybe Sirianni knew something by not kicking the ball. But some of the criticism, it was valid in that Saints game before halftime. He decides to go for it, and it really had no upside to go for it. And you ended up, it didn't make any sense. So he had some hiccups. He wasn't perfect. And obviously, he deserves some criticism. But if somebody responds with production, with results, you got to give them that credit, that respect. You can't keep that same take and say, well, I said that he's not this or that, so I got to stick by it, bro. No, we're not going to do that, bro. It's real talk. We're going to keep it real. That's what it is. So Sirianni, congrats. Thank you. And one of the best coaches in the NFL. I don't care what anybody else says. We're going to go to the Tush Push ban. The Tush Push ban is one of the most laughable things in the NFL. It really is. It's actually really, really funny. And Frankie Louvu, he's poo poo, he's doo doo. He's a guy that was directly responsible for the Commanders being the 30th ranked team against the run. They were awful. They were awful. I was at Xfinity Live when I was at Xfinity Live when Saquon Barkley on the first play of the game went like 70 yards to the crib, like 65 yards to the crib. That's not the tush push. So here's my thing, Frankie Louvu. You're worried about the wrong stuff. You're worried about the tush push when your squad could not stop the run. You couldn't. So how about think about why is it first and goal at the 1 yard line? Why is it that? Why? I also heard that y'all was gonna like hurt Jalen Hurts if he goes out the pocket in the playoffs, and you had that cheap shot on Jalen Hurts. I'm just trying to figure out what happened because he seemed pretty fine in the playoffs when he came out the pocket. I'm just saying, brother. I'm just saying, brother. He was sensational. Where were you at? All you're known for is doing cheap shots. So like it 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 really boggles my mind that Frankie Louvu was talking about the tush push being a rugby play, and he's one of the most dirty players in the league. We saw that hit on Jalen Hurts, one of the last games of the season that knocked Hurts out for multiple games, bro. That was a dirty hit. And he knew what he was doing because the only way the Commanders could have beat the Eagles this year was if Kenny Pickett was in the game. That's it. That's it. And Frankie Louvu knew that. So it's ironic that the same guy that's one of the most dirty players in the league, because he can't stop the tush push or his team can't stop the tush push, he want to say ban it. Get in the weight room, stop taking cheap shots, and defend the play better. And the way your DC was talking in the playoffs, have some freaking I don't know, pride in stopping that play. I would, because y'all talk so crazy. This is why the Commanders haven't won nothing in so long, bro. And y'all win a little something, bro. Shout out JD5, he's amazing. But it's like y'all win a little something and don't know how to act. You're still the Bummanders. I'm sorry you are. I'm about to start sweating out here because Frankie Louvu, he's doo-doo, he's poo-poo. He be tweaking out. Tomorrow gonna ban the play. E30. Talk about Jalen Hurts. Talked about him a little bit earlier. Talk about him again. The craziest part about Jalen Hurts is that he's nowhere near his peak. Like Patrick Mahomes, we've seen the best of him. Lamar Jackson, we've seen the best of him. Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, we've seen the best of them. Like, I don't know if they can show us something that they haven't shown us before. Like, Lamar Jackson, I don't know if he can do better than what he did last season in the regular season. Now, his thing is the postseason. But, like, I don't think we're seeing something crazy different from those guys. I think with Jalen Hurts, one thing that he has to improve on, that he will improve on, is his anticipation. That's what it is. Now, there were some games that Hurts took some ill-advised sacks, and we saw it and been like, hey, Jahan Dotson's wide open. A.J. Brown's wide open. Devontae Smith is wide open. Now, part of it is because y'all got on him for turning over the ball, so he would rather hold the ball and take a sack than put up a 50-50 ball and get a turnover. So part of that is also him taking care of the ball. But that next step for Hurts is to be a anticipatory thrower of the football, which he will be. And you got to think about this, bro. Jalen Hurts every single year has improved in some aspect of his game. First year, they said that he couldn't throw for real. Okay. Coming 2021, leads a team to 9 wins that was projected to win 3 to 4 games. He ran the ball. He had some deep balls, but he got 9 wins with Jalen Rager being what, his wide receiver too? Oh my God, and a rookie Smitty? Ah, ah. That next season, he gets AJ Brown. He becomes one of the best deep ball throwers in the league. That's called getting in the lab and working. 2023, they said that he could not carry a squad with a bum defense. What does he do? He goes to be more of a dual threat quarterback. He had the turnovers, but he was still super, super clutch in those moments. And then at the end of the 2023 season, what did Jason Kelsey say? Hurts is going to get a lot of blitzes. And if I was him, I would love that challenge. And what happened in 2024? Jalen Hurts became one of the best quarterbacks pre-snap, and he flat out outdueled Steve Spagnuolo, who is one of the best defensive coordinators of all time, and dropped 40-something on his head. And so ultimately, bro, we have seen a track record of this guy, Jalen Hurts, continuing to improve and improve and improve. And when he becomes a better thrower of the football by anticipating throws, it's going to be over, bro. It's going to be over, bro. So I think the league should be scared because Hurts hasn't reached his peak yet. And again, I'm going to die on that hill. We're going to go and shift gears to a general NFL topic, and it's Brock Purdy. And then we'll go to the Sixers real quick. Brock Purdy deserves every penny that he got. He does. Brock Purdy deserves every penny that he got. He's better than Jared Goff. Easily. He's better than Jordan Love. Easily. He's better than Dak Prescott. Easily. Baker Mayfield, kind of toss up. CJ Stroud's better. But all right, Brock Purdy is a guy that I firmly believe if you are a supporter of Jalen Hurts, there's no way you can hate on Brock Purdy. Well, if you're an Eagles fan and you hate on the 49ers, all right, I get that. But you can't support Jalen Hurts and knock Brock Purdy. And I still think Hurts is better than Jalen. I still think Hurts is better than Purdy. But if you want to knock Purdy for playing with great players, you can't support Jalen Hurts. And vice versa. You can't support Brock Purdy, but then knock Jalen Hurts. Both players are in similar situations. Now, Jalen Hurts and company got the job done. But part of why I'm a big Brock Purdy supporter is because I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I'm not. I'm never going to hold it against a player in the NFL for having a great team around him. Because we see other guys that have had great teams that simply haven't gotten it done. Jared Goff is the primary reason why the Lions did not get it done. It wasn't Aiden Hutchinson. It wasn't the defense. Cuz had 3 picks. That's on him. It is. I'd take Brock Purdy over Justin Herbert. I would. I would take Brock Purdy over Justin Herbert in a heartbeat. And the thing that makes y'all knock Purdy is because he's a 7th round pick. That doesn't matter. Because if he was a 1st round talent, everybody's saying he's the best thing since sliced bread. Who cares? Obviously, the draft evaluators missed on that one. And Brock Purdy is a top 10 quarterback. Now, I don't believe in the 49ers for other reasons. I think their defense will take a step back, and they just re-signed or gave Fred Warner an extension. But I don't believe in their defense like that. But Brock Purdy himself, if you take away somebody's running back, wide receiver 1, offensive lineman, several defensive starters, the quarterback is not going to have the best statistical season. I'm just sorry. Nobody. Unless you're Mahomes, who's arguably the second greatest quarterback of all time, if you lose Tyreek Hill for almost every quarterback in the league, you're probably not going to win a Super Bowl. Like, so, like, I'm not going to knock him because he took a little dip and a bunch of his playmakers, Debo had a down year. Like, all these guys just had a down year, injuries, or whatever the case may be. So, I got to give him credit, bro. Shout out to Brock Purdy. And we're going to support that guy. Well, we're going to support the Eagles, first of all, and Jalen Hurts and all these guys. But I think Brock Purdy does deserve some respect there. I want to shift gears again back to the Eagles. Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas, former Jets general manager, becoming a senior scout for the Eagles is an underrated move. It damn sure is. Damn sure is. Because was Joe Douglas, batting 1,000? Wasn't batting 1,000. We all know like the Zach Wilson pick was atrocious. But defensively, Joe Douglas, he got an eye for talent. He got an eye for talent. And he's had several great drafts. It's not his fault that Willie Johnson is his owner. The same guy that's taking advice from his son playing Madden. It's not his fault that Aaron Rodgers turned into a pumpkin. Now, one could say, well, why did you sign Aaron Rodgers? And that's fine. I'm not going to knock him for signing a guy that is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Right after a guy in Tom Brady at 40 years old, got a Super Bowl. One could say, hey, well, you think Aaron Rodgers is Tom Brady? And that's a fair critique. And I would actually say that too, because nobody else is Tom Brady. Nobody else is going to be doing that. But I think that Joe Douglas joining Howie Roseman's staff is amazing. Is amazing. Now we got another set of eyes that come next season when the Eagles have a boatload of picks. A boatload of picks. Whether it's comp picks, whether it's picks from the Hassan Reddick trade, whatever the case may be, they got a bunch of picks. And really, it's 2025 and 2026. Those drafts are going to determine whether or not the Eagles become a dynasty. And if they smash those drafts out the park, you're talking about a team that's going to get 3 to 4 Super Bowls. That's what it's going to be. That's simply what it's going to be. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz. Share with a friend and show with a friend. It is Real Talk with MJ. We all know I always keep it real. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. We out.